Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. The issue that I'll be dealing with today, actually, in answering, is the question that a lot of Muslims have raised and non-Muslims. How come when a Muslim man is allowed to marry a Christian woman or a Jewish woman, and how come a Muslim woman is not allowed to marry a Christian man or a Jewish man? We're going to put this issue in its proper place by looking at the circumstances and what happens when a man marries a woman. Usually, on average, we're talking about an average, the woman will be more influenced by the man. Okay, and we're talking here on average. Okay, the majority. She will take upon in a lot of countries, the name, the last name of the husband. She will take upon, even though that's not what in Islam should be, she'll take upon his customs. The kids will look up, especially if they're male kids, to look up to the father. The women or the daughters will also look up to the father as the protector. He's the provider in the family, especially within a Muslim society. He is the one who is in charge of the family, the one who has the responsibility of the family, the protector. So he's very influential. He's in a position that of big influence. So he would have a lot of influence and he would show a lot of model for the family. From a psychological point of view, I can tell you this, that the woman psyche works different than the male psyche. And this you can go, and this is not an Islamic perspective, you can go and research this yourself in the psychology books that have studied this intensively. And look at the issue of how women think and how men think, what kind of issues are involved in the process of thinking, in the process of looking up and imprinting and role modeling and so on and so forth, and see how the two sexes are so different. So let's go to the first scenario. Let's say a Muslim man marries a Christian woman or a Jewish woman. Alhamdulillah, the woman comes in, lives with him, obviously. She has to come to his house, right? She has to abide by the rules of the house. Will the Muslim man do anything against what the Christian, faith or the Jewish faith will, dictates, right? Nothing, okay? The man will not allow her to eat pork. She doesn't have to eat pork. It's not like she'll die if she doesn't eat pork, okay? But he will not allow to have pork in his house. He won't allow to have alcohol in his house. It's not like it's a requirement of Christianity to eat pork and to drink alcohol, right? He won't allow to have a crucifix on the wall. It's not a requirement of Christianity to have crucifix on the wall. It's not a requirement of Christianity to drink and to have pork. It's not a requirement of Christianity. So he's not infringing upon her rights in whatsoever way. He won't make fun of any of the prophets because he agrees and he accepts all the prophets. Okay, he agrees and he respects all the prophets that she she follows, or that she'll read. She'll respect the Bible because the Quran talks about the Bible or the Torah. So he's not gonna by any way belittle that. He's not gonna by any way do anything that goes against her faith. What is he gonna do? He can't force her to wear a hijab or anything like that. He can't force her. He has to drive her to church. He has to, buy her clothes and be nice to her. And this is an obligation. She can hold him to the Quran for that. Okay, so he is obliged by that. So what can this is the perfect scenario that she will have her freedom, right? She will be able to do her worship, and she will be able to live peacefully. No one from his family is gonna make fun of any of her prophets or anything like that, or insult any of her prophets, because we believe in all of them. So the scenario is that there's even a better chance that she, if the husband is a good Muslim, will become Muslim, noticing the example, and the kids also follow Islam because they will follow the father, who is more of an authoritative and responsible figure, as the head of the family. Okay, and this is something I was upon only recently that has changed in some of the Western societies. But throughout the century, the father was the person to look up to, and of course, the mother has her contribution. There's no doubt about it. Without taking anything from that, it's a contribution that men or husbands could never bring through. That's why there's families. That's why there's marriage. But the people from the family will be influenced a lot by the husband. Okay, so he has a lot of say and a lot of responsibility, and they will look up to him. Now let's look on the other side. Let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, that a Muslim woman marries a Christian man or a Jewish man. He's the legislator in the house. He's the one who brings most of the money and stuff. He's obviously the one to whose house she's gonna move. And he's the one he's very authoritative. He's got a lot of responsibility. He's providing. The kids are looking up to him, right? So, what kind of environment? He's gonna be infringing upon her right, because Islam, it's haram in Islam, to have a crucifix on the wall, for example. So what is she gonna do? Argue with the husband? Husband can get mad and like slap her if he wants to, if she tries to do something. What about drinking? Can she tell him stop drinking, don't have beer in the or wine in the fridge? No, she can't, because it's the husband who's gonna say, forget it, this is what I do. So he's infringing upon her right, because she's not supposed to have alcohol around her. She's not supposed. He's gonna bring pork to the table, feed the kids pork. That's what he's gonna buy. He's always gonna buy pork. He's gonna ask her to cook him the pork. He's infringing upon her right. Okay, she's not supposed to. That's haram. So, but he's gonna demand that. So which of the two will be a more workable situation? Obviously, the one with the Muslim man and the non-Muslim woman, because none of the rights of the will be infringed upon. But on the other hand, if the Muslim woman, she'll be infringed. What if the man doesn't like hijab? He's gonna tell her, take off hijab. She has to wear hijab. It's part of her faith. It's a requirement Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked her to do. What if the man's gonna be watching bad movies or something, or he's gonna she can do that? What if he's gonna raise his kids? Obviously, he's gonna raise them Christian, because he's the authoritative figure. He's the one who's gonna say, what he's gonna be the legislator in house, pretty much. But because there's no restrictions to that. So do you understand now the importance of that? There's a huge hikmah and wisdom behind the fact that Muslim men can marry only chaste, believing women from the Jews or the Christians, not mushriks, not idolaters. And the Muslim woman cannot. The psychology is different. She'll be influenced. Most likely she'll give up her faith. Yes, she can be strong, but she'll be influenced. Her iman, her faith will go low from what she sees, from the alcohol in the house. What if he's gonna invite her friends over, and he non-Muslim men don't have that jealousy, when other Muslim men come to the house and they look at their wife, and maybe he's gonna talk about. They don't have that haya and that jealousy and that desire to keep these things only to himself. Maybe he'll tell her to take out the hijab. So I listed all these things, that how if a Muslim man would marry a non-Muslim woman, Christian or Jew, he would not be infringing upon any of her rights to his practices, because any of such things that Christians do, like alcohol or eating pork, okay, if they give it up, it's not a requirement of their faith. But in the case of a Muslim woman, she has to wear hijab. She can't deal with pork or with alcohol. These are requirements. She has to pray. Okay, so if he's gonna tell her to stop praying, he's gonna make her sin. So do you see the hikmah behind these? I hope this inshallah makes a lot of sense to everyone. It's surely, I think the evidence that I provided made a lot of sense. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be upon you.